Thank you very much for agreeing to assist in the practical verification of an approach that we want to follow towards the edification of elders and also others in the GKSA churches. The intention of this message is to share perspective on what we need to do, our assignment, who we are that have been tasked with it, how we are busy executing our assignment, and finally, very important, what we ask of you to help us. Our assignment resulted from several general synods. In 2006, it started with the curators highlighting the need to edify or train elders, especially those in non-Afrikaans churches that is required to preach the word. In 2009, a study report on the calling of elders resulted in specific decisions related to the edification of all elders. Decisions like churches to assist each other, the theological school to develop material of a list of subjects that was included in the decision. There was also a related assignment to confirm the church orderliness of elders preaching in some instances. The 2018 Synod concluded the issue of elders assisting in preaching, and in the light of that, deputies were confirmed to execute the assignments of 2009 regarding the edification of elders. There are currently 3 deputy groups working on this together. The Elder Edification Work Group of the Deputies of Church Growth Ministries, and their focus is mainly on the method and the format of training. Then the Synod of the Theological School, which would mainly focus on the development of training content. And finally, Expondo, who would manage the operations of the process of material development and the rollout to the churches. These 3 groups are working together as one team, and that's why if we in this message talk about us and we, it refers to us as a combined team. Let me show you where the practical verification fits into our overall plan. We started with a conceptual workshop. There is already a lot of material available for the edification of elders. And to develop just another booklet might very well also end up on the bookshelves. The workshop therefore considered a different method of adult learning and to develop a format of material that would support that. Part of the concept was to put some of the material in a video format, and this concept was tested by developing several modules which we reviewed and gave feedback to incorporate into a final guideline to develop training material. And now the practical verification. Before we go off and do a lot of development work, we need to assure us that our plan will actually work for congregations of different cultures and circumstances. The proof of good food is in the taste. And your feedback after applying the module is very important for us to know whether it will work in practice. We have asked about 20 ministers to test it in their church councils or in their congregations. Our intention is to use your feedback together with the proof of video concept feedback and to include it into a practical guideline for the development of edification modules. While you are busy with this verification in practice, it is our plan to determine a first phase of training material which should be developed based on the need of the churches and the topics decided in the 2009 General Synod. Then comes the development of this phase 1 material. Once the guideline for material development is done, we can proceed with that. The development would of course include a process where the content is reviewed and the language and the presentation. It is our intention to start the development in English and in Afrikaans, but with a real desire to add other languages as soon as it is practicable. While we develop the phase 1 modules, it is our intention to develop also the publishing system as a website linked to the GKSA website, where churches can then freely download the material as and when it is required. with Module 1, Phase 1 modules in place, and the publishing system ready, we can roll out the first phase to the churches for their use. It is our expectation that once that is done, there would always be more and more modules to be added, and therefore also a step of continuation. Now let me get to what we are asking of you. Thank you again for agreeing to help us with this very important step. First of all, please familiarize yourself with a general explanation of the training method and the format, as well as the use of the Socratic method for the group discussion. The format of the material is somewhat different from what we are used to, and it is important to understand how the different pieces fit together for you to really practically test it. We have given you two different video messages similar to this one giving an overview of the method of training as well as the format of the material, and the other one specifically focusing on the Socratic method that we are proposed for the group discussion. Please go through that in your own preparation as the facilitator. Then identify a group of, say, 7 or 12 elders or church members of varying experience, and distribute the training module to each of them for their personal study. If it makes more sense in your particular context, you can of course also present this in a group and work through it as a group. Make sure that all of them have worked through the material and have mastered it. And then arrange a group discussion where you facilitate the group to explore and to conclude the application and the implications within your specific context of language and culture and circumstances. And then your feedback to us, which is so critical for us to be able to do our work. After the completion of this training module, please share any comments and recommendations that you could. But please at least include the feedback and the questions that is included in the separate form that we have sent to you. Questions there is, what do you think of this format? The self-study of the texts and the video teaching on the principles, and then finally the group discussion, to understand it within your own context. What do you think about the method of presentation using a video? What do you think about the content of the module itself? Did it cover all the important issues adequately? What advice could you give us on the method of training and the format of the material and how it will work within your church, within your context? What advice can you give us in how different churches might use material such as this? How would they use it? Who would use it? When will it be used? Can you give us any advice on the role or the preparation or the training of facilitators of this group discussion to use a question-driven method to drive the discussion? What advice can you give us regarding the rollout of this system to churches such as yours? And please remember, add any comments, any advice, anything that you can think of that would help us to better serve the churches in this assignment. That's quite a mouthful. Let us know how we can further enable you to help us in this. You are most welcome to contact any of us. There is the contact detail of Andries Burger or Malan van Rijn or Albert Coetzee. Thank you again for helping us with this, so that we can help the churches for the growth of the churches and the glory of our Lord.